Hey everyone, this is Lee with the RCRoundtable podcast, and here is a special road trip edition where we take you to the 30th anniversary of B.B. Weber's B-17 and Big Bird gathering in Monteville, Texas. Fitz and I spent 2 days attending the event, saw some incredible aircraft, met with some great people, and can't wait to share some of the stories we have to tell. In the first half of this podcast, we interview a few members of BB's family, and also with Barry Raborn, the president of Bomberfield USA. And in the second half of the episode, Fitz and I record our comments and thoughts during the car ride trip home. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the RC Roundtable podcast, where we discuss the latest RC hobby news, events, model reviews, and a whole lot more. Okay, I'm here with Dana, who's the daughter of B.B. Weber, and Alyssa, who's the granddaughter of B.B. Weber, and the daughter of Dana. And they've taken a couple of minutes to talk to me. I was just really curious, being the children of B.B. Weber. He's such a legendary figure in Texas, especially this area. What was it like growing up with a figure like your father?
He was always positive and building stuff, and just he went and he went and he went. He never stopped. It was always fun being with him.
Was he always into RC airplanes?
He started out as a kid. He and his brothers. He had 4 brothers, and they'd build balsa wood flyers at the farm. He was raised on a farm, and they would build balsa wood flyers and fly them as kids. And then when he went to work for Bell Bottom, he learned how to fly a plane. He had to fly to one of the job sites, and no one taught him. He just got in and took off.
He just got in an airplane and took off.
He did, and then taking off wasn't a problem, he said, but he had to make sure and pay attention when he landed for the first time with no instructor or no instructions.
Yeah, they say takeoffs or optional landings are mandatory.
Correct.
Is this a plane he built himself, or he just...
No, he did not build it. It was a regular full scale.
Man, that guy, that's he must have been some personality.
Yes, he was. He even was accepted into the Air Force training during World War II for the officers, but he snuck in, and they found out he was underage, and his parents said no. So he was just underage before World War II, but he tried.
Yeah, I understand it was a common thing back then to try to sneak in underage.
He did, but he got caught, so he didn't get his airplane wings that way.
Did he try to get either one of you two to try to fly model airplanes?
I tried once, and my husband and I built one, and I crashed it, and I haven't done it since.
How about you?
He was actually going to teach me, but it never really happened. I think she taught my sister a little bit, but no, I never got to fly him. But that's okay. It was still cool.
So, do you recall when he decided to build his field? Did he just come home one day and say, I'm going to build me a model airplane field, and nobody's going to stop me?
Pretty much. He built it, and they did come. What happened was, I'll never forget it, when I was a senior in high school, I walked into our dining room and looked at the table, and there was this big official architectural plans, blueprints of the grandstand, the tower, the runway, the field, and I looked at that, and it said Monteville, Texas at the bottom of it, and I was going, what is this, and where in the heck is Monteville, Texas? And sure enough, he built it, and they did come, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's amazing, just to come out of the blue, to build him giant. I mean, he ain't big, it sounds like.
We just thought he'd lost his mind. We had no idea what these plans were and what he was planning. And actually, my brother has a really good story, because they were out flying once before Bomberfield. I guess this was in the 70s, and they had gone to fly. Daddy had built something, Drew can tell you. And because they were near the airplane, I think there was radio frequency problems, and it crashed his plane. And he said, well, I've got to find a place that I can fly without being interfered with, my RF being interfered with. So that might have been the inspiration for this.
Wow. Now, did you live anywhere near this area when he picked the lot?
Well, their house is in West Houston, their house was in West Houston, in the Memorial area.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Do you know why he picked this area offhand?
I think he probably just drove around and tried to find the least impacted place within 30, 40 minutes of the house. Oh. So that's probably why.
Because it was there, right?
Yeah, because it was there. It was within driving distance, and it worked out.
Oh, cool. You got any thoughts to say about your grandfather?
Well, he used to work in his garage, so they didn't actually park cars in his garage. They just built model airplanes in his garage.
Cars are not for garages,
No,
they're
of
for
course
model
not.
airplanes.
No. So whenever the kids would come over, my sister and I, we'd always get to go in the back of into his little workshop, and he'd have all these parts and specific details on all of the little balsa wood parts of these airplanes he was building, and we'd kind of shuffle around them and then pick out pieces of wood and get to build whatever we wanted, and it was really fun. And I think one of the best things we built together, my grandpa and I, was a ship that actually floated in pools and stuff, so that was really awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic. I like to do boats myself, so that's good. That's great. It's good to get some hands-on experience, get some good tactile. It's actually good life experiences to build things with your hands. That's really great. You spent time with doing that.
Actually, Alyssa has a lot of my dad's artistic 3D sculpture. She does sculptures, but she also learned how to weld at the shop. She can build about anything, and I think she got that from my dad. My dad could paint. He did all the wonderful painting on his planes, and he even did actual oil paintings, but he didn't really pursue that. He was too busy with his planes. But my daughter definitely got his talent.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thanks a lot for taking a moment to talk with me. I really appreciate it. You got any one last thought or one great memory you want to share about your father?
Carry on.
Carry on. Simple and efficient.
Sir.
Well, thank you very much, Dana. It was wonderful talking to you, and you have a good day. You too. Thanks. Okay, so I'm here with Drew Weber, the son of B.B. Weber, and we had a nice conversation with his sister, and she said, hey, you got to talk to the brother. So to be fair and even, I'm going to give a quick interview with the brother and see what he has to say about his pretty famous father. Do you fly models yourself?
I used to fly them back in my early 20s, but as I got older and lost time and effort, and, and as work took over, got married and had kids, I don't fly them anymore.
Did you build planes with your father?
I sure did. I had built a couple of scale fighter planes, and I had an SC-5A. I used to fly around, and about my mid-20s, late 20s, I kind of fell out of the hobby.
Were you flying at a time that this field was built?
I sure was. I remember my dad built the field back in the mid-'80s. He purchased property around 85, and he started putting the runway down around 86, and then started putting these stands up. And it was pretty much a functioning airfield by the end of 86, early 87.
So it went fairly fast, it sounds like.
Yeah. He knew exactly what he wanted to do when he bought these 30 acres out here. He was completely zoned in, tuned in to what he wanted to do as a kind of a retirement play field.
Sounds like a driven man.
Yeah, he was. He really liked his hobby. He kind of got into it. He flew free flights as a kid, growing up on a farm, and got away with the hobby 20, 30 years, and picked up remote control aircraft in the mid-'70s, and really enjoyed flying it. And I was a kid at the time, so I'd go with him. And he had built a semicircular field out at his father's farm out off Mikayla Road, and he and some friends and family would fly out there for about 5-6 years, and my dad kind of got out of the hobby for a couple of years, went back into boats. That was another passion of his, boats and fishing, and once he decided that was getting too expensive and he wanted to come out and was getting close to retirement, this was his plan. It's Bomber Field.
So it sounds like he had it in the blood.
Oh yeah. He knew it for a long time that he was going to be flying around a lot and develop this thing, and he had a good time doing it. It was a real passion for him.
Now, your sister said that she wasn't aware about this field coming to fruition until she saw the plans on a table one day. Were you cued in a little earlier than that, or was it also a surprise?
No, it was kind of a surprise to me too. My dad, I was in school at the time up at the University of Texas, and when my dad bought the property, and all I just remember coming out here one time with him and seeing he had already had the field laid out and mostly paved, and he had contractors and stuff lined up to build the facility here and the stands, and I at that time I went to work for him after I got out of school, and was kind of part of helped him put up the old flight tower that's no longer here. We drilled a big diameter hole and stuck a big 60-inch casing in there, and then he had a contractor that had a little building built, and had a contractor come in and stick it on top. And he had a full functioning air facility over here.
Control tower.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. So he was fully into the RC program by then.
Oh, that's cool. What was kind of some of the early reception of the field when you first built it?
Oh, it was wonderful. It took him a while to establish a kind of a community that we see today. He knew some people. He'd gone to a club probably prior to building Bomber Field back in the late 70s, really mid-late 70s. And so he established some contacts through there. And once he built the facility, he was just, Dad was a warm and welcoming person, and he said, "Hey, come on out here and fly. We want to develop. I want to have a facility. I want people to have a good time." He developed it all the way out here because he wanted to get away from the city where he could have he could use at the time the few frequencies that were available to the remote control community that allowed them to fly over, because where he used to fly over near Hobby Airport. It was restricted in terms of the number of frequencies you could use to fly your remote control airplanes. So anyway, he developed established some contacts over here, and it just grew from there.
Wow, that's a great story. Speaking of stories, you've got a Batwing story that your sister was telling me. Can you talk about that just a quick second?
Well, my dad had built, he always had a kind of a flair for building the unusual. So he built a Batwing aircraft that Batman flies. And it was beautiful. It's black with the yellow Batman emblems on each wing, on up top. And he had it was one of his playthings. He put a motor on it and flew it around. It was real fast. And he also had thought that something was really cute. He built a bunch of little Batwing gliders that were miniatures, and he put them in a little pod. And when he flew off in the air, he'd fly them around, and then he'd open that pod, and all these little miniature bat planes would come out. They were probably maybe 6 or 8 inches across, and they'd all flutter down and fly down, glide down. It was pretty fun. And he had a really good imagination for doing things like that.
Sounds like he was a pretty whimsical guy with a good sense of humor.
Right, absolutely. So that's why a lot of people loved him. He was a great guy.
Now he's pretty famous for building a huge Tupolev bomber that's currently hanging up in your hangar there. Did you have any hand in building that with him?
No, I sure didn't. No, that was completely my dad, all on his own.
That was all him. Huh?
Yeah, and it was the beautiful thing about it is he ordered the plans, and there was no kit or anything involved in it. He cut everything out, all the spars, all the wing ribs. It was all handmade.
Completely scratch built.
Completely scratch built.
Wow.
He gave him a set of plans, and that was it.
Wow, and that's big. I think it's what over 100-inch wingspan, 120.
It's about a little over 20-foot wingspan.
It's a monster.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I was I went back in 2000. The fall of 2000 was the first time he flew it, and he flew it down there near Freeport, or actually back near Bay City. And he found a field facility to fly it, and he had quite a crowd. Just people wanted to come see it. I guess it was a private airfield, and there were probably 150, 200 people who drove down there just to watch that airplane take off and fly on its first flight.
Wow. Wow. Well, your father left quite a legacy. Very interesting guy, from my understanding. I unfortunately never met him, as far as I know, but he's pretty famous around these parts, and he's left a great field for us, and I really appreciate your efforts in keeping this field running. Any last thoughts you want to tell the audience about your father?
Well, he was a wonderful man. Loved him dearly, and he made. It's really interesting. I go around these days, and all the people who know and remember him, and speak well of him. I'm glad this field's here as a legacy to his memory, and we hope to keep it up that way and let everybody and the public enjoy it.
Okay, can't add anything to that, Drew. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. I'm going to go back and watch more planes fly.
All right, that'd be great. Thank you, Vince.
Thanks. Okay, I'm here with Barry Raborn. He's the president of Bomber Field RC Club and also the co-CD. Barry, it looks like the weather's held out for the most part, and we've had a pretty good event. About how many pilots have we had this year?
Around 115.
Wow, that's a good number. Wow, that's really great. This is the 30th anniversary. How long have you been with the club?
I've been with the club over 20 years.
Oh, so you've had quite a history with them.
Yes, so I've been coming out here since I was a kid.
Oh, great. What was it like to try to put on this event since this was a special anniversary?
Really, no more different than any other event, other than we reached out to the Lone Star Flight Museum to get some real World War II fighters and bombers doing flyovers. Unfortunately, the low overcast did kill that, but we did have it set up. But otherwise, it's the same thing year after year. You've got a lot of mowing and a lot of food buying and everything else that has to come together.
So I guess you knew B.B. Weber pretty well?
Yes, I knew B.B. Weber very, very well, and for many years this was B.B. Weber's club, and you paid B.B. Weber dues, and if the event made money, it went in his pocket. If the club needed money, it came out of his pocket. And when B.B. Weber got sick with leukemia, he was contemplating closing it down. He didn't have the health to keep it running, and I talked him into letting us convert this into a regular AMA club. And he gave us a year trial run to see if we could cover the cost of the property, and we were able to cover all expenses, and we've been a regular AMA club ever since.
That's interesting. So this wasn't an AMA club for a long time.
Well, you had to have AMA to fly here, but it was not a typical charter club, no.
It wasn't sanctioned.
Right.
That's very interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about B.B. Weber, his personality, or just dealing with him?
Yeah. B.B. was kind of larger than life. B.B. loved scale modeling, and he loved bombers. And he built this field really when nobody was building places like this except Byron and Ida Grove. I mean, this was a 700-plus foot long asphalt strip. He paid for it out of his pocket. He built grandstands. He did have a tower at one time, but the city made him take it down. But BB was a great man and kind to everyone. He loved to make sure everybody had a good time.
Oh, great. Now, I understand you just had the runway resurfaced and repaved. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the runway was in need of a sealer pretty bad, and our taxiways were in need of asphalt pretty bad. And we've tried to keep enough money in the bank every year to do it. But unfortunately, it's a lot of money. So this year, I put together a private fundraising drive, and we raised all the money on private funds to redo the entire asphalt runway, all the taxiways, and put new gravel on our entry road and regrade the surface of that as well without touching our treasury at all. So it was a nice financial boom for the club.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I understand you had a bunch of auctioned off items that were donated to the club. Can you tell us a little bit about that in the history?
Yes, Dr. Gutierrez, who never was a member here, he lived in Cuero, Texas, but he came every year to our event and just always enjoyed coming. He wasn't flying a lot. He was one of those that always planned on flying. Sadly, he passed away too young, but his son said he had fond memories of this field. They wanted to donate his stuff for our club to raise money for the runway or et cetera. So in honor of his family, we've been auctioning off some of his stuff and raffling off some of his stuff, and we're going to do something special for his family.
Oh, that's fantastic. He had a lot of nice stuff. I hope you guys made something for the club, and everybody walked away happy, it looked like.
Yep, I think everybody's been happy so far. The weather gods have been kind to us, and the place is packed. Everybody should come visit us next year. It'll be even bigger.
I certainly will be back next year. I don't care if it's the anniversary or not. I'm going to bring some stuff to fly, and definitely look forward to it.
All right, come on back.
All right, any last words or thoughts for about the club or about B.B. Weber?
Just that we try to carry on his legacy. We want to make sure everybody has fun and that this event is the grandest event in the South.
I think it is. All right, thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, hello everybody. This is Lee and Fitz, and we are driving in the car. Lee's driving. Hopefully we'll survive our trip. We are heading back from Bomber Field weekend. We spent 2 days out there. Ooh. Yes, it was... the weather kept threatening us, but it looks like it kept breaking for pretty good, other than a couple of passing rain squalls.
One each day.
Yeah, one each day. It was just kind of funny. Today was supposed to be really bad, but it turned out to be actually pretty nice.
You're welcome.
He did the rain dance?
Yes, I did the rain dance this morning.
So the weather was really good. The Bomber Field we went to, if you're not familiar with it, it's a really, really first-class facility in Monteville, Texas. This is right outside of Houston, right to the west of Houston, about 30 miles north of nowhere.
It's like between Katy and Brenham.
Yes.
If you know where that is.
If that means anything to you. The facility is really nice. If you've never been there, it's actually a first-class flying field. The runway is a paved runway, somewhere in order about 800 feet long, so it's turbine-friendly. There's lots of facilities, electric power on there, on site. Lots of space for popping up tents. There's some air-conditioned room. There's a kitchen on site. And the neat thing is there's bleachers. There's a set of bleachers, one story up, so you can get a nice bird's-eye view, unobstructed view of the flight line. So it's very visitor-friendly.
Yeah, I will say I've been attending Bomber Field. Well, I don't know, probably the early days. I was just counting in my head. I've probably been there at least 15, 16 times in attendance of this event, and I have gone with my father. And this is the 30th anniversary that B.B. Weber started this event. I even have a video, like someone gave me a videotape like from Channel 2 when they interviewed him, and flying the B-17.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Wow.
it's amazing.
Oh, neat.
And so it's neat. It's a neat event, and I remember traveling with my wife one time. We went to like some kind of festival, and nearby. I say nearby. Well, in Texas, everything's far. You're just used to it. 50 miles is nearby.
Yeah.
But I remember stopping by, and it just happened to be during a bomber event. I completely forgot, and we watched it from the bleachers. So it's a great place to bring the kids and just sit there. And they have a concession area with hot dogs and hamburgers and all kinds of stuff. And it's very visitor friendly. We really encourage people to walk the flight line, and that they do leave these nice huge gaps so people can admire everything. And Fitz sold some stuff, so there's a lot of selling and trading of aircraft there. Really a nice event.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with B.B. Weber, he's kind of a legend in these parts, where he set up this field because he liked model airplanes so much, and he's built some really big and very unique models. So he had quite a following. He's since passed, a couple years ago or so, I think.
I believe it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. So he's recently departed, but his kids were there. He had 2 daughters and a son were there, and a granddaughter. I had a chance to talk to. And hopefully we'll piece that together. I had a nice interview with them, and they had some interesting things to say about their father and the event. And I also had a chance to talk to the president of the club, and he also had some neat things to say.
You talk to Barry?
Yes, talk to Barry, yes.
Very nice guy. Nice guy.
So we a lot of fantastic models. This event, I guess, it centers around the B-17, so there's a special award for the best B-17. So you see a lot of bombers, but it's a general scale event. We see a lot of civilian and war birds, and it's mixed. You got jets, you got prop jobs, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, modern. It's all in good fun. Generally geared towards larger planes, but there were a few smaller ones there as well. Nobody seemed to complain. So it's a really friendly, modeler-friendly event, and there's no snobbery goes on. Everybody has a good time. They really amp it up with our local compadre of the Texas. Houston, what is it? Texas War Thunder?
Texas Warbird Thunder.
I always mess up their name. Texas Warbird Thunder. These guys are kind of a loose confederation of guys that get together and each
loose cannon confederation.
Loose cannon conventions. Yeah, imagine a sky full of giant scale airplanes screaming down the runway at full throttle, sometimes inches off the ground, sometimes inverted.
Well, remember how we were talking about in the past, like your Great Plains electric company only had an on-off switch?
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel their engine throttles are.
Yeah, their engines have an on-off switch. It's idle and in full bore. But it's fun to watch because they keep improving their routines, and so this time they were doing coordinated loops and rolls and stuff like that. There's like a half a dozen of them.
Yeah, some had smoke systems and such. So yeah,
this is really a fantastic event. Even though this is quoted as the 30th anniversary / memorial to B.B. Weber, we do this every year, and it's always a real good time coming up here. Even though it's a bit of a trip for me, I live in the opposite side of town. And if you live in Houston, that means a state away.
However, Fitz stayed at my place because I'm off of 290, which I say is along the way. We was just joking with you earlier that when he comes up to Monteville, he comes from the south side, I come from the north side, and again, 50 miles different directions. So it's like coming from different states.
And I'll have to say that Lee's room service is not very good.
Oh, you bet.
I ordered steak and eggs, and I didn't get anything.
Pretty sure you were on my recliner with your shoes off and a drink in your hand, watching Last Man Standing. Okay,
we'll talk about that.
Anyway, so we came Friday. We came earlier on Friday, so we
Yes.
probably got there around 8:30, and I'm trying to accelerate and drive at the same time, so let's see if this guy will talk. And then today we came a little later because the weather was the concern. We went from a 40% chance of rain Friday to an 80/90% chance today. And as Fitz said earlier, we lucked out. We dodged the bullet. We only had a little light bit of rain today. It was way less than yesterday's. And anyway, let's talk about the event. Can we go from Friday, or because right now Saturday's in my head?
Yeah, this is interesting. This event runs. I actually think they started Thursday. They had
People were showing up Monday.
Monday.
I think Randy was there on Monday. Yes,
These guys have lines?
it is going to be a week long. It's going to turn into a week long extravaganza. Yes, these guys came really early, but officially it's I say officially it's Friday, Saturday.
Well, they had something special for kids on Thursday, some sort of a charity event or something.
Yeah, I've heard that in the past that they've had kids come by, like a local school or something like that.
Yeah,
So-
I was told by somebody about it, and I forgot exactly what it was. I'd made some notes, but there was something on Thursday for kids. And then Friday is really when it starts picking up. They already had 100 people registered on Friday,
Wow.
and then way over 100 today showing up. So, although I think the weather may have scared a few people off, but people camped out. The place is camper friendly somewhat, and there's a lot of big parking lots. So.
Hey, free mud.
Yeah, free mud. Oh, you can mud. Oh, you can step mud.
Now, I'm going to tell you, Fitz, that we were talking about the size, and 100 plus pilots seems big, but I remember coming right after I got the Pawnee. So that was maybe 8 years ago. I'm thinking it was about 8 years ago, and I got the Piper Pawnee at best, and I got to fly because it qualified for the measurements.
Oh, yeah, giant scale.
And, yeah, so I mean, it qualified to fly there, and I remember waiting in line at the
Really?
pits. I was like 2 or 3 pilots. People were just standing behind each other at the pits. So if we had like less pilots, I think more people were trying to fly. I didn't really feel like there were a lot of planes flying until they announced a gaggle.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that's a good thing, folks. I mean, because I just remember how frustrated I was, like sitting in the sun waiting to fly, and you're waiting, and people are flying gas or doing 10-minute rounds. But this time, I mean, people were walking out, flying, doing some awesome stuff.
Yeah, there was no waiting. There was still a busy flight line, but fortunately there wasn't any waiting. You went out pretty much. The only time you really had to wait was somebody was landing. Sometimes you had to wait.
Sorry, there's just so many things I want to talk about because there were some landings and there were some landings.
There's a landing, and then there's a landing.
Well, I don't know. Can we try to remember Friday and all the stuff that happened then?
Well, what happened Friday? We did have a B-25 crash, medium-sized one, went in on approach. A lot of the bombers flew. We had the bombing competition between our friend Mike Leibel and a few other guys.
Hey,
and
Mike.
Randy Larson too.
I'm shouting out to Mike Leibel. You won, by the way. I don't know why they said you guys did not hit the spot closer than anybody else, but I've got video proof. So if you want to start up a case, I'll give you evidence. Exhibit A of the GoPro session, but I put a little GoPro camera by the bomb site, and so I had people passing and dropping stuff, and I'm pretty sure Mike won. But that was neat. That was fun.
Yeah,
and that was during the squall, so I can make a time lapse of this huge storm coming out of nowhere from over the stands, and then just attacking us.
What else? There was the F-16, that big orange and it was orange and red.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was. Tell us about it, Fitz.
Okay, so there's a turbine model, very big F-16, had a very colorful paint job. Not sure if that was a tiger meat thing or something, but he had some issues. He took off, and it was a really hairy takeoff, and he had a problem with his gear. He couldn't retract the gear, so he just flew around like that. He comes into land. You can tell he's coming in really fast. I see that there's no flaps.
Oh my God!
And he looks like he veers off into basically the pits area, far down the runway, and it looks like he's going to dish this in the pits. And it sort of wobbles in the air, and I guess he's trying to throttle up. And it looks like it's going to hit a tree. He just misses the trees and goes off for another pass, and everybody's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I couldn't see it. It dipped below the canopies down at the far south end.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it. I was waiting to see, smoke or something. And I'm 5'5", so I'm very short. And I guess everybody else could see it. I couldn't. So I'm like trying to look around, but I don't want to get in front of the pilot because he's next to me.
Yeah.
But the next thing we know, that thing pops out of the sky. It was amazing that guy did not pick up the pieces after that.
Yeah, at one point he's like, I think it was about 10 feet off the ground, and the thing is all way out. You can barely see it, and it's he really saved that by the last second.
He did, and luckily he came back around. He was still, I don't know if he was green, just very new to that because it was still a very hot landing, and he tore up the nose gear in the grass. But it was in one piece, so good. Kudos for him that it wasn't anything major. I can just say now, I have no footage of any crashy smashing. I have some minor little landing gear issues. We talked about that one guy who was working on his plane yesterday. And Fitz was poking at his gear going, this looks kind of loose. And sure enough, that guy came into landing, that gear just collapsed. So I got little collapse stuff, but nothing major. I don't know if we want to jump to today, but there's this huge major story that Fitz and I are involved with, so who can tell it better?
What story is that? There's lots of stories.
B-17.
Yeah, duck and cover.
Oh my, it was duck and covers. Holy smokes, man.
Oh, you go ahead. You can.
Grenade! I mean...
We had a close call. Almost got our what we have left of hair cut off.
Oh my God! A giant scale B-17. This guy was taking off down the runway. There was discussion about which direction was the wind blowing at that time, and it's hard for me to tell you too much detail because I want to piss anybody off, I guess. But this guy, in my opinion, was taking off in the right direction, where the wind was blowing from.
He was taking off upwind, but had not officially changed pattern.
Okay. But that being said, I don't think it had any factor into what happened.
No, it's purely pilot error.
Yeah. So the pilot error is this guy. I feel like he was just too eager to get up in the air, and he throttled up, and that tail started wagging. And instead of correcting, I don't know if he lost his tail. I don't know if it was up in the air, but he gunned it, and it came right at Fitz and I. And I was videotaping another aircraft, and I just put my camera down, so I'd stopped recording. So I did not have my camera on. People were mad at me about that. I am sorry, people. They were like, "Come on, Lee, tell me you got that." But the B-17 came right at Fitz and I. Fitz went towards the runway. I went towards the Ryan. This happened within 10 feet of us?
Really close.
Really close.
It looked like he was just going to taxi out. That's what took us by surprise.
Oh yeah, he was gunning. So it came at us full throttle. He missed me, missed Fitz, hit one of the pilot stations, which is a metal fence, knocked it over, it took off, and then he rolled it, and then it collapsed in the pit area, well, the walkway area, I guess, taxi area, missing, maybe 15 people?
Oh, yeah.
And 4 major planes, and just boom!
Well, I'm pretty sure he had already taken off, then he hit the pilot station.
Well, if he took off, it was 1 foot.
Oh, yeah, I have pictures. I have pictures of it. I'll dig through them, and I think I got some good shots. Because when he did that, I just aimed a camera blindly and just started snapping off pictures.
Well, thank you, Fitz, because I had nothing except a change of pants.
From what I remember, it looked like he had been in the air a couple of feet or more, and then hit the pole, and then it just cartwheeled in the air, missing half a wing. And, that was exciting.
That was exciting.
That was a butt clincher. In fact, it was a bad day for B-17s today.
It was well, I have some good footage of Randy's Hi-O Silver from Friday.
Yeah.
And it's a great looking plane. My only complaint is it's too quiet. I need to secretly go to his house and drill some holes in the mufflers or something because it flies great. It's just not loud enough for me. And he had mentioned to me that the mufflers he had were just too loud, so we went back to the stock, I guess, or whatever. They're too efficient, darn it. But it flew great. However, today he was doing the BB Weber dedication flight, and you had seen his tail wheel flopping around. Is that right?
Yes.
So something happened with his tail wheel. The plane veered right. He cut throttle, but that thing was at just too much motion, too much mass. Myself and one of the BB's daughters jumped out of the way because I was, down the way where he was heading, and it unfortunately clipped one of the pilot fences. Not as hard as the other guy. The other guy, he knocked it over, but the good news is the damage is very minimal on the plane. He lost the wingtip, the right wingtip, I think.
Yes.
The tail wheels, kind of might have to rebuild that, but very, very minimal, nothing serious. So that'll be back up in the air, but besides that, it's still a lovely looking airplane. We got lots of great video from it, and we'll be posting that on our Facebook page.
Yeah, it was real neat to see that. It's unfortunate it happened, but yeah, I saw just as he took off, I saw the tail wheel flopping around like a wet noodle. I was like, that's not good. And that's when he veered off. It wasn't fast enough for the rudder to bite.
Yeah, and we still had a little bit of a crosswind.
Yeah, there was a little bit of crosswind, so we veered into the crosswind.
Yeah.
The wind got a little wonky for a second. And then we had the F-16 tractor from, I think it wasn't Kevy.
It wasn't Peavy. You talking about the little Thunderbird?
The little Thunderbird with the engine in the front.
Peavy was videotaping. I'm not sure who was flying.
It was his buddy. I can't
and tail heavy.
Yeah, it was tail heavy.
Oh man, that thing kept going. But the best part was there was nothing drastic. There was no midair. But this guy, it was just. He was having some issues trying to control it, and and I was standing right next to him, but that thing kept going and going and going.
Yeah, you heard it in the disc going.
And
it's like, what the heck?
Well, see, he finally landed at the road, and everybody was walking. I turned to Fitz and said, "Is his engine still on?" And you could still hear that engine full throttle. No prop.
Yeah,
just spin it up. So
yeah, I saw him pulling the throttle down on the transmitter. It didn't change anything.
So
I'm gonna go get it before you lose your connecting rod.
And that end was pretty dangerous because we had that P-51 that just it did not want to stop.
Oh yeah, it just kept going.
I mean, he was at idle. But that plane just, he must have really greased the bearings in those wheels because it kept going. And I don't know if it clipped the fence, but I know it went all the way to the road.
That's a good stuff. So sorry for talking about all the carnage, but that was right in our memory. Some good stuff.
Well, we were going to talk about the Starfighter that was on Friday. It wasn't there today. Barry's Starfighter.
Oh yes, that was. What did that thing have? A 90-inch wingspan, maybe?
Yeah, it was 90-inch wingspan, 100 feet long.
Yeah, basically. That thing was huge.
You want to stop for a drink?
Yeah, stop for a
drink. We're going to have a commercial break here in a second, but continue. Talk about the Starfighter.
Okay, so we had a Starfighter that was made somewhere in Eastern Europe, Bosnia,
Slavia,
Croatia, I think. yeah. One of those
Bogoslavia.
Bogoslavia.
There we go.
This thing was huge. We're not kidding when you look at the wingspan. That's not that bad. It's probably 80, 90 inches, but the fuselage was probably 20 feet long. Yeah, definitely for a turbine. It wasn't finished. He was still working on it, but he brought it out to show it off.
Well, I did talk to him today because I said, "What kind of engine are you putting in?" He goes, "Well, yeah, I am downsizing the exit port, and it's going to be like 10 inches or something like that."
He's going to go to the police, the medical helicopter facility, and grab one of their engines.
Oh yeah, because it's a huge exhaust port. But he's gonna wrap it tighter, and then he said he's going to put an LED afterburner.
Oh, nice!
So that'd be cool.
That's going to be pretty impressive when he gets that out.
Yeah, he's got impressive stuff. That was it a Hellcat or a Wildcat he was flying?
He was flying a Wildcat.
Wow.
With a Moki 150.
So pretty.
Yeah, and he had the big jet too. The I forgot what it was. It was an F-80 Thunder Chief, I think.
That's the Thunder Chief. Okay, so that was the one he was having aileron problems. I videotaped his whole flight, and I could tell on takeoff something wasn't right, and I was standing next to him, and I asked him, and he said, yeah, I can't trim it out. And when he landed, which was, by the way, he's a great pilot. And I think, by the way, that the Cat was Top Gun. Wasn't that the one he said, Top Gun?
Oh, it might have been.
Anyway, he landed, and we could see that the right aileron, I don't know what happened, whether he lost threads or if the arm twisted, but he had 5 degrees of deflection in that aileron with full trim. So
it was a big plane. I think I said F-105. I mean F-84, I think is what it was.
I don't know the number.
F-84.
I couldn't put my finger on it. It wasn't.
Yeah, it's an early Sabre era jet. But yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, he was lucky to get it down when it had such a trim issue.
Yeah, I could just see him. He was just wobbling over and over again trying to get the trim, and he just couldn't get the roll right. So anyway, but that was a good save. I mean, by the way, I want to say to the pilots who are listening, who are out there were a ton of great saves. And we're pilots. Fitz and I are pilots, and Terry, wherever you are listening, that you are a great pilot, and you hope for the best. You come down and you might get a little bounce out of it, but some people can recover better than others. And there were a couple of guys coming in hot, and they got those wheels down the ground, and it just stuck there. I mean, that guy with the P-47 from Mexico, I think, the green,
the big one.
Man, he was able to. Every time he came in hot, I was like, man, that thing's going to bounce, and it would grab. It was perfect. And people who are bouncing, P-51s are just prone to do that. They come down, and then the tail goes down, and they hop back in the sky. But a lot of guys I saw who were bouncing good recoveries, very good recoveries. So it was nice, and and sadly for our crashy smashy videos, we don't got a lot. We don't have an episode with that.
You're fired.
There are a lot of good ones. Well, I wish I had gotten that B17. But sorry, CYA. It's like, well, we'll take hey guys, we're going to take a little break here. We'll come right back. You won't even notice we're gone to grab something for the road, and then we'll finish off the rest of the Bomber Field episode.
Yes, to the magic of editing.
Pilot to Bombardier, pilot to Bombardier. We are nearing our target. Open the bay doors and prepare the payload.
All right, we're back after a little quick stop at Buc-ee's, a Texas institution.
Your number one Texas spot.
Yes, we're gassing up, and all kinds of goodies that we were munching on right now. So excuse us if we sound a little crunchy.
Ooh.
Yeah, Lee's munching on something. I don't know what
Chocolate covered peanuts.
Oh, nice. So as we were last talking, let's enough about all the bad stuff. Let's talk about some of the good stuff we saw there. I think there's some really fantastic models that showed up of all sorts. A couple of ones that I really thought were really neat was, of all things, a pre-World War I, there was a what do you call it? Curtis Pusher. The guy had.
Jay.
Yeah, he scratch built it. It was pretty good wingspan. I took a note. I forgot how long. It's maybe 80 inches ish, 90 inches. Flew pretty good. Lots of details.
Electric.
And it was electric.
Probably flies 3 times faster than the real one.
Yeah. Lee saw it flying around and said, "That's awfully fast." Isn't it? I was like, yeah, that's probably 200 mile per hour scale speed.
Yeah, Jay built some great stuff.
He showed me, when I went up and looked at it closely, the elevator is linked to the little steering wheel that the pilot uses. So when he pulls up elevator, the steering wheel moves back and forth.
Here's even better. The battery's in the radiator.
Yeah, I saw that. Really clever. He hides a battery in a radiator in the front. So it's got a really nice detailed engine on it that he scratch built for the most part.
Yeah, if y'all are listening to the show, go through our photos. My photos or Fitz's, or the video, and you'll see this. We both got footage of it.
Yeah, I always thought that was really neat. There was a Focke-Wulf that had Focke-Wulf 190 that had the exhaust plumbed through the scale exhaust, and that was really neat. It sounded really good too, and it was just really neat to see when he cranked it up. You see all the smoke coming out of the scale headers.
Nice detail.
Yeah, it was a really nice detailed plane. Really, really nice.
I'm going to give kudos to the guys from Space City who brought their aerobatic Cessna 150s.
Oh, yes.
All with auto start, all with smoke. I mean, I'm not talking smoke system. I'm talking double the power smoke system.
Yes.
Ultra smoke system. I mean, whatever they had was like, this is where you must have every smoke system start.
This is what destroyers used to hide your position during the war.
Right, yeah. That's what James Bond uses in his car for a smoke screen.
Yeah, they were serious when they got smokers, and so
very nice stuff.
Yeah, they all had matching shirts, and they take off. There's 4 of them, right? I think.
Yeah, there's 4.
They take off, fly in formation, turn the smokes on at different parts of their flight routine. When auto starts, it was a really nice show to watch.
I had seen them before because we were at an event at Scobie, and they flew there. So that's neat though. They're really good. Nice little fun team.
Yeah, the good stuff. There's several planes. I think we mentioned before. They had the Moki 150. Was it 5-cylinder engines? Oh, those things sound really nice. That's what I want for Christmas. I want one of those Moki multi-cylinder engines.
Well, that was the one that won. Was it Best World War II? The P-47 with the Moki.
The P-40. There's P-47, but also the Wildcat also had a Moki in it. So there's 2 planes.
But it wasn't. Barry that won. The other guy did.
Yeah, the other guy did. Yes. And was he the one from Mexico? Is it or? No. I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember.
Sorry. Well, speaking of Mexico, they really cleaned up.
Arriba!
Yeah.
My friends. Well, from myself, I'd like to say Marcella, he's someone I've known at Bomber Field for many, many years. He's part of the Muy Alto RC show. It's not a podcast, it's actually a show. They have tons of followers, and I am jealous. But I'll tell you, kudos to them. They're so nice. I watched one of their first shows and didn't understand a word of it in English, because it's all in Spanish.
Yeah.
And he knew I was watching, so he actually stopped the show and spoke to me in English.
Oh, did he?
So I love these guys. They're hilarious.
Yeah, I think they're from Monterrey, right? Monterrey, Mexico.
I don't know where he's from.
I think he told me Monterrey.
They're just hilarious. But it was funny because they interviewed me after the national anthem today. and they were talking to me. Of course, they're talking in Spanish to their people because it's a live Facebook feed. Marcelo's standing next to me, so every now and then he'll speak English to me because I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But it was just really nice. You know, they're really good buddies. They enjoyed my photos. They thanked me for my photos, and I told Marcelo, I said, look, I know you guys love this hobby as much as I do, so my photos are your photos. You know, we love sharing each other's stuff. So it's our pleasure to advertise them. If you are a Spanish-speaking podcast lover, go tune into Movie Alto RC on their Facebook page.
Yeah, really nice guys. When I was talking to them, they were actually looking at our Facebook page. We had posted some photos. At first, I didn't realize it was because it was all in Spanish. I'm like, you should go to our page. We have some pictures. He goes, no, that is your page. Like, huh?
Well, he shared some of our links that we put up there.
Yeah.
But let's jump right to the big thing. The big event at Bomber is an award. It's a best B-17 award. It's this huge trophy, and the gentleman who had flown at Bomber, I guess it was last year. I thought it was maybe 2 years ago.
I think 2 years ago.
He had crashed it. He lost engines and it rolled and went in, and all that he saved was the tail, and he rebuilt that sucker, and it flew. And Randy was at the controls. Mr. Larson was flying it, and it was great. And they had a nice little dunk. They dunked water on him after this thing. It was. We got it on video. It's really nice. So they won the trophy, which I'm going to say they rightly deserved.
Yeah.
They best, as Barry said during the presentation, they show the spirit of what the award's about. These guys love model aviation, and just like that guy who was working. They said it was the largest group they had brought from Mexico.
Oh, really? Wow.
So I'm guessing there were at least 20 guys that drove together to come to this event. And I mean, that's not easy. That cannot be easy for them.
No.
To drive that distance and show up and fly. And they had several planes that had crashed. In fact, I was really upset to see that his Dauntless had crashed. He had suffered landing gear damage on Friday morning.
Yeah.
Before we got there. So they were working on it, and sure enough, they all pitched in together. We saw you were helping that guy with the dribble today.
Yeah.
I saw, but everybody's helping each other get their planes back in the air. And again, that's the spirit of the hobby, and we need that, guys. We need that kind of motivation.
Yeah, they had good spirit, good ambassadors for their country. It was really nice talking to them. They were
And they're funny.
Yeah, they were. They were really
just
funny.
so funny.
Really happy-go-lucky guys. The bomber that they rebuilt, it was like nothing left of it, just a little bit of a tail.
Yeah, just a tail,
And
a funny duddy.
Yeah, and it looked fantastic. It didn't look like it was in a crash. It looked really, really nice.
I'm not going to say it looks as good as the the detail that Randy put on his.
Yeah.
But it's a spirit award.
Yeah. But it wasn't an ugly plane, so there was a really good spirit. Even after Randy had an incident with his plane, he was in really good spirits. He just went off and he flew the heck out of his twin Mustang.
Oh man, I love double barrel.
Yeah, that is nice.
This F-82, Randy's got an F-82 that I think he built from 2 top flight kits.
Oh, was it? It's a kit bash, huh?
It's a kit bash, yeah. And it sounds great. It flies great. I mean, in the camera, that thing does not jostle at all. It is on rails. I mean, that thing just tracks like you wouldn't believe. He flies it wonderfully. His smoke system failed, and it looks so cool with the smoke system on it.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't get to have that running. But I got great video of that, and I'm sure I'll be putting that, right up front because it's an amazing airplane.
Oh wow! Yeah, it's a big plane. I probably had 2 60cc engines on it. I think it was big.
Well, today when he was flying, I was standing next to him, and I said, "Randy, that's how loud your B-17 needs to sound." So I don't know if he took that as a nice thing, but I'm kind of just planting it as his ear that he needs to get that B-17 louder.
It's funny. Speaking of balls to the wall, I looked at his transmitter. He was flying the F-82, and it was full throttle.
Well, yeah, that's great because Gary. Sorry, I keep saying Gary. Greg Yancey came up next to him, and Randy had pulled the throttle down. He goes, "What's that strange noise?" Because he knew it wasn't full throttle.
Is it supposed to sound like that? I've never heard that before.
Anyway, but yeah, that's a great flying plane. The guy from Mexico who flew the 2 jets, he won some awards.
Oh yeah.
So he had a Panther and
Panther and
MiG.
Yeah, the MiG. Was it a MiG 17 or a MiG 15? I can't remember. 17. Yeah. Early MiG, red. Flew the heck out of it, even though his nose gear was having some problems.
Well,
it's like he didn't care. Just he zipping across the runway. some really fast passes. I was trying to photograph.
I'm going to say,
yeah, man.
I'm glad Alan. Hey, Alan, my buddy Alan. I'm glad you weren't there when he did a flyby over the runway, like 5 feet in front of the pilot station.
Yeah, Mach 2.
Oh my God, I was standing right there. There's no way I could get that flyby. But yeah, you're not supposed to do that out there.
Yeah.
And I guess he was by himself and just felt like, as you said, balls to the walls.
Yeah.
But it was neat. It was a very neat plane.
Yeah, there was some nice turbines out there. Nice mixed crowd, as we said before. All kinds of stuff. There's a few electrics out there. Guy had a nicely. Did you see that T-28 that he had detailed up?
I did.
There's a BE flight one. It was really
okay.
nice. It was a pretty nice weathering job on it. He put a special coating on the foam to harden it up, put a shell on it.
Well, I was going to say it's hard to weather white.
Yeah,
we
could
and make it look
up.
well. I mean,
he did a fairly good job of it. I thought it was pretty nice.
But a shout out to VQ Warbirds. They're the sponsor, one of the main sponsors of the event. They had a great giveaway that I did not win, but that's okay. I'll get over it.
You're robbed.
But they had an amazing giveaway. I don't know if we mentioned that earlier. You get like two 60, is that right? 60 size?
I think it was 60 size, yeah.
Yeah, you can get two 60 size Warbirds or one big 110 inch Liberator. But they had other planes out there. The Wally was flying the new Rare Bear.
Yeah, Rare Bear's out there. They had a test flight of that.
A couple of guys had was it the Focke-Wulf? That was a VQ?
Yeah, the Focke-Wulf 190. I think they had another regular Bearcat, Hellcat, Dauntless dive bomber. They had a bunch of stuff. Some PC-6 Porters.
Hey, and kudos to Tomas with VQ Warbirds. They had, what do they call it? A wet box sale?
Yeah, a wet box sale.
A wet box sale when the rains came and a lot of the boxes he had on display were wet. He kind of discounted those, and I'm going to say, there were a lot of kits gone.
Yeah, he told me he sold a whole bunch of kits. They really made his trip worth it.
And if there's a sponsor out there that wants to, fund RC Roundtable, they have a camo P38 that just has my name on it. Just feel free to pay for that, buddy, and just ship it to me, okay?
Oh yeah, ship it out.
Ship it. I'd like to have that bad boy.
Hey Thomas, you're listening.
Yeah, that would be a plane I'd like to have. I mentioned to Terry before we left about it. He was like, "Are you going to be able to afford all the electronics to go in that?" So, yeah, I understand. Oh, and then there was a guy there with the yellow aircraft P38. I posted a photo of it. The gentleman who had the big shiny. It was
the one that looked new.
It was brand new. And
that was a yellow. Okay.
It was a yellow aircraft. Yeah.
And
unfortunately,
oldie but goodie.
Yeah, exactly. And it had a brand new paint job on it. It was a little too shiny because it needed to be dulled a little bit. That's not a plane you want to gloss coat, I don't think. But he couldn't. He had some engine issues, and so he didn't get to fly. That's sad because I was looking forward to that when I saw it come in.
The other P38 flew. Or the other one that was a wood one.
That's that boxy one. I have its little brother.
Oh,
yeah. Just like a Banana Hobbies one, so or something like that. It's just it's a very very boxy kit, but it's fun. I mean, I like my twins, so I'm glad I got that Graven P38 that you found, in the back of that storeroom. So I do enjoy it. What else did we see out there? The raffle prizes were great. There was a gentleman who had passed away. He was a member of the club, and his family donated. Pretty much just gave the club all his items from his hobby shop and asked them to auction and raffle them off.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff new in the box
to help pay for the club's taxes.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that Alan had mentioned, that this event is pretty much what pays for the land taxes, and they get to fly on this land for free because the family. Until, and I knock on wood, until the land is sold, they don't have to pay anything for it. They just have to cover the taxes.
Just the taxes, yeah.
And so that's a great benefit. Well, anyway, the guy had some items to sell, and I picked up a Taylorcraft 450 from E-Flight. But he had a variety of kits. He had boxes of balsa. He had ARFs. And they range from this big, a teeny tiny planes, probably 24, 30 inch wingspan, to that Hangar 9.
Corsair, yeah, a couple of big planes.
So yeah, he was eclectic in his collection. So that was a nice thing, and I think, really for what I saw things going for, I thought they did a really good job.
Oh, and they had a sort of impromptu trivia. They were giving out hats and shirts, and I want to thank Terry because of him I won a shirt from one of the trivia. They asked what was the aircraft that had the most kills in World War II. And people were throwing out different planes, and I said the Hellcat, and that was the answer.
Yep.
Yeah, so thanks, Terry, for because we had talked about that before. I thought it was a P-38, and Terry says, no, it's the Hellcat. So,
see, I was going to guess like a Corsair or P-51, but nope, it was the Hellcat.
no, the Hellcat.
Because Terry knows.
Yeah. No, don't disregard what Terry knows. So it was really nice. They were really generous, and lots of gifts, lots of prizes, lots of planes. There was a few planes I saw that I don't think they flew. They were out there. I don't know if they had mechanical problems or whatever, but there's kind of a couple hundred planes, right? Just each person brought a couple planes.
Yeah. Now you did a video that's on our Facebook page that we did live. I was in it too.
The pyros.
So that was the pyro. But before the event started, you did a little walkthrough, didn't you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So,
I didn't want to wander too far away, but I did a little walkthrough.
Yeah. So I didn't do that this year. I think I did a walkthrough before. But this year, I went with my video camera and did several 5-second stills so I can put a collage together on a video and kind of point out some of the crazy planes that we did see. There was a good variety. Did you buy anything? I mean, there were a couple of vendors there. Did you buy anything?
I did not buy anything, no.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I was a good boy. I sold some things. I didn't replace them with stuff I bought.
Well, Big Dog RC was out there, and I bought stuff from him when he was at Georgetown. And
Oh, yeah, he gets around.
I was looking around for new ESC. I don't think I mentioned this yet, but I brought my new CMP Cub that I got at a club meeting, and I had to do some work on it, and I made a really cool little battery tray that I stole the idea from Morgan Mills and their battery tray they use for the CZ Cub, which, by the way, if you have a Carbon Z Cub, the foamy one, because they make a new one, or like a carbon Cub or something. But anyway, if you have the CZ Cub and you do not have the Morgan Mill battery tray, go get it. It is awesome. And so I made something very similar for the Cub, got everything working, did some taxi tests, was very happy with it, and then did a run-up yesterday morning before announcements, okay, and said, okay, everything's good, turned it off. They did the announcements. I go to plug in my battery, and pow! Ow! Man, it's a two batteries in series. I plugged one in, no problem. Plugged the second one in, and man, the arc and the fire and the noise and the burning sensation in my finger, I melted one half of a Dean's connector right off. My wires came off. The solder instantly melted.
It desoldered it. Yeah.
It desoldered it, and I'm now out of commission.
Yeah, I saw the flame, even from where I was standing. Like, whoa!
Did you smell the burning flesh? Because that's anyway. Yeah, it was.
What's burning?
What's
me?
And talking with our friend Keith, mentioned it happened to be a Turnigy 100 amp controller, and he said that was one that brought one of his planes down.
Yeah. He said his caught fire on him.
Yeah, so maybe it was just luck. Maybe this was a benefit, and I need to be grateful for this little disaster. So I will yank that out, and it came with the plane, folks. I didn't really mention that. All the electronics, the plane came as a whole piece. Just battery and go. So I'll take that thing out, put a new one in, and hopefully get back up in the air. I was really excited about flying the Cub, but thanks again to Greg Yancey. They were doing a Cub and Cousins flight, a little get together. How many planes do you think were in there?
Over half a dozen, I think, right?
It was neat. I'm going to guess at least 10 planes were up in the air, Cubs and stuff,
and not Cubs.
Yeah, exactly. You think you're a Cub? Yeah, what we were talking about earlier. I identify as a Cub.
Yeah. I'm Cub curious.
Yeah.
Because what was the Stinson Reliant, I think. And
there were two other planes there that didn't belong there. It's like you had to play the little game, which of these does not belong here. But he was flying his Cub. He gave me the sticks. I got to fly. That made me feel good. So thanks, Yancey, for letting me fly your Cub. I appreciate it.
Really nice of him.
It was very nice of him. I mean, not many people just hand you the transmitter. Like that. I mean, I wanted to fly his P-51, but no.
There's a limit to his generosity.
Hey, Randy, can I fly that B-17? No. I couldn't get to fly my Cub, but I did get to fly a Cub, and that was entertaining. And I guess the other bit of bad news that I haven't mentioned yet, I don't think I put it on Facebook. My Canon 5D Mark III.
Oh yeah.
Friday. I shot about 300 photos, and I went to take some photos and my shutter button wouldn't work. So now this has happened before. like the lens maybe came loose or the battery has gone dead or something. So I'm looking at the LCD, it's on, and I say, okay, I'll just reset the camera. So I flip the off switch and the LCD stays on. I flip it on and off, the LCD does not go off. I flip it off, I take the battery pack out, the lights go off. I say, okay, good, I'll just reset it. Plug the batteries back in, dead. Dead. No matter what I've done, I changed battery, checked the clock battery, changed the lenses. My Canon camera died, and that made me very sad because I like going to these events, especially Bomber and Wings Over Houston, to take photos for my friends and post them on their websites. And so I was cameraless Friday afternoon and all day today. I do have my new Sony camera, my 4K video camera, which I did a lot of different stuff with. Shot some 4K yesterday, and I shot a lot of high speed today. So that's good. I mean, I think I'll have something to share with everybody. Glad you were there, Fitz, because you brought your camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, my Canon's dead, which means it'll probably take me several weeks for it to get repaired, which means I won't have it for Best. So, hey, by the way, Fitz, you're taking pictures at Best.
I guess I am. Thanks for volunteering me.
You're welcome.
Me.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, it sucks about your camera. Nice, you have a really nice camera too. And I'm nowhere near the photographer you are. So,
did you happen to see? I posted a few on the Texas War Thunder page of the Corsairs and a couple of people landing. So I did grab a few out of the camera and posted them. The sad thing about Bomber is it faces east, and so you really do not get good quality. That's the worst of it. You know, my camera dies at 11, and you don't get good lighting until 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's when the sun starts getting behind you. So you get much better photography later in the afternoon, and so everything was into the sun at that time of the day. So I got a couple of good pictures, but unfortunately, yeah, I'll be out of business for a while.
Oh, that sucks.
It sucks.
Yeah, Friday wasn't your day.
No. Yeah, Terry texted me, don't buy a lottery ticket? No duh.
Don't walk out in a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Well, but all in all, I think it was a really good event. They had a really good turnout. We saw some really nice stuff flying. There was a lot of flying, some top-notch pilots, some really entertaining antics, fantastic models, and lots of scale details. It's really inspiring. I really need to bring something next year.
I think the weather probably drew some people off because even us, we were not sure we were going to come out today. Yeah. I'm glad we changed our minds because I told Fitz last night that if it was 80% or higher, we shouldn't go, and I'm glad we did. I mean, it just opened up for us. It wasn't beautiful weather, but it was nice, and I had seen much larger crowds in the balcony or the stands.
Yeah.
But hey, being able to walk around and not bump into a lot of people. Yeah, yeehaw.
Yeah. Yeah, for a day it was supposed to be total washout. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're pulling into the driveway of Lee's domain, so I think we'll end it here. I think we'll also add in some of our interviews, so I don't think anything else. Yeah, do you got anything else, Lee?
I'm sure there's stuff we forgot to talk about, and we'll try to sneak it in or do a little excerpt here and there.
Do an excerpt or something.
But between Fitz and I, we'll be posting photos and video for sure. I plan next week to get some stuff out right away. But sometimes it takes me a week or two to get the collage done because I like to really work on that. And being that it's 4K, it really slows down my computer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I still have a very old video card, so I need to probably upgrade. Maybe I'll look into that this weekend. But I'll try to get something together. And then, of course, we got to get ready for Best.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks, man.
It's 2 weeks. I got to work on something, too. I got to get something finished. So, yeah, it's really creeping up on us quickly.
Hey, I've got a plane in my garage. You want to come help me sand it?
No.
Oh, damn.
That's all you. I got my own troubles.
Well, thanks again to the guys at Bomberfield USA. Y'all put on a great show, and I know everybody who was there flying and attending really appreciate it. And thank you, BB Weber, for starting that airport. It really is an airport.
He started it. Yep. It was pretty amazing, pretty groundbreaking, and a unique site in the United States. So, on that note, we will see you next time. Thanks everybody for listening. Check out our Facebook pages for all the photos and some video, including the live video Lee mentioned earlier, and whatever else we can come up with.
Y'all have a great week.
Please visit our website at RCRoundtable.com,
where you can send us comments and suggestions or listen to our other great podcasts, where you will also find links to our iTunes and social media sites. Thanks for listening.